Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first of hopefully many episodes of Majorshepard Rants. It's going to be a segment where I basically just talk about anything that comes to my mind that I want to rant about. And yeah, that's really it. It might contain facts, it might contain figures, it might just contain my opinion. So obviously, disclaimer thing, all I said will either, most of what I say will be my opinion. If I say there's a fact, then it's a fact that I found. I might put links to the facts I found and stuff like that. But most of this video is going to be my opinion. If you don't agree with it, that's fine. That's your opinion. Just, don't get angry, because it's what I think. If I'm wrong, then hey-ho. But if I'm right, hey-ho, same thing. It's just my opinion. So let's get this started. First episode, I was kind of thinking about what I should do. And I've been thinking about it a lot. I mean, the first time I thought about it, I thought about doing one about Beyond Two Souls, but then loads of people have done that, and it's been too long since I last played it, and I've really lost the rant urge for it. So I've been trying to find something else to replace it for the moment. I've got another one that I think I might do in the future, but for right now, I've recently watched a video by the guy who basically owns what is it? Well, he doesn't own. Well, he might own. He runs the network I'm part of, which is the Lethal Legacy. His name is Letalis, and he recently uploaded a video about World of Warcraft, about how he got into it. I watched some of it. It was interesting, so I guess this is kind of a response to it, but it's not really, because it's a separate video. It's about my experiences with World of Warcraft and all of that. So let's get this started. To start off, I guess I played WoW, or I started playing WoW, way back in 2007, 2006. It was before Wrath of the Lich King came out. It was just near the end of Burning Crusade, and I started joining in because some friends at school asked me to join in, said see if I would like it, and I played it. And the first character I ever made was a male human warrior, because if you've watched some of my videos, you would know that I sometimes go on about I always choose the characters that have two swords and smack things. And it's like, yeah, basically that's what I did. And the first character, and I can actually remember clearly, the first character I ever made was with a really crap name called Jacob Dunen or something. And it was, I think it was, what was it, a protection warrior or a DPS warrior? It was human. So started off in the church part before, it was all destroyed and all that in the newer releases, and I played up until the end or midway through Wrath of the Lich King. But the thing is, I never even got that far in the game. The thing is, I was a really slow player throughout the entirety of my time that I was actually really into WoW. It was about what was it? 6-7 years, maybe a bit less, and throughout that entire time I never got to level 50. Seriously, I just ran around just looking at stuff and doing side quests, never doing like proper things that made me level up. I just took my time and looked around because it was a really interesting thing at the time for me. I felt that the world was interesting, the characters were interesting, it was all just like awe-striking, and I was like, oh my god, this is so amazing. And it just basically absorbed me into the world, and I was really into it. And in fact, it was like in 2011 was when what's it called? Not the Burning Crusade, that one's already happened. The Deathwing one. I can't remember what it's called at the moment. Just call it the Wrath of Deathwing. And it was actually the point where I actually got to level 50, because what was it at that point? It was level 70 was the max, or 65, one of those. And I actually managed to get to 50 and a bit higher, because I wanted to try out the what was it? No, beforehand. No, I did get to level 50 before that DLC, or expansion, whatever. The expansion before that, I actually managed to get to level 50 so then I could make a Death Knight. And I thought Death Knights were cool, but it seemed as though no one else thought they were cool. Because I think they said they were either overpowered or they were not very well put together. So it was a bit. I was more on the bit where it was like, these are so fucking cool, I'm playing as a dead guy who's not dead, and he's like a knight, and it's so cool! But, yeah. So it was alright. And then, at some point, I just lost interest. It was years and years a few years of playing, and I was just having fun throughout the whole of it. But then at some point, something just didn't feel right with the game. Obviously, the years I went through, you lose friends, you gain friends, you don't play with other people anymore, you do other stuff, all of that. I went through all that, and it was fine. But at some point during Wrath of the Lich King, I lost interest and stopped playing for a while, a couple of months. Then I came back, then I went off, then I came back again, and then I went off for about a few years. And when the Deathwing expansion came out, I was like, wow, this is so cool, this trailer is awesome, and I thought I'd give the new races a try. Of course, I played the Worgans first, because I fucking love werewolves. Werewolves are fucking cool. The problem, they were cool, but at the same time I had a problem in that they didn't have tails. They were a bit kind of, when they first got shown, the females looked very weird. It was just all weird, but when they actually came out, it was fine. It had a nice, weird, like, British tone to it, which I thought was nice, but at the same time, it's like, what? And then you had the goblins. To be fair, I didn't like the goblins. I thought it was cool that they added in a new island and it was like, ooh, volcanoes and stuff, but compared to the Worgen one, it wasn't really that good. You get stranded on like some sort of island, you have to try and fight these really boring enemies, which are like scorpions or birds, whereas the Worgens actually fought like the undead and all this other stuff, have to fight their nature of trying to kill everyone, whereas the goblins are just like, industrialism, ho! So, yeah. And even though I enjoyed it for a while, and I like the fact that the whole world had changed, what was it, the 1,000 Steps had become the 1,000 Islands or something, because it got flooded. These fields that were once like desert areas suddenly had the trees growing everywhere. There was this big scorch mark of where Deathwing was flying through when he first emerged, which I thought was cool. And then there's that the one quest which I had fun was one where you had to listen to 3 different stories from a dwarf, a tauren, and I think an undead. And it was fun because one of them actually rode a motorcycle and like was flying around and shooting Deathwing and stuff. That was cool. It was funny, but it was just something I felt was missing from it. That the will or the soul of the game was like gone. I don't know what it was. Something just really felt wrong to me. Then after a while, I just stopped. I just felt like I just didn't feel like I was enjoying it anymore. And when I was actually thinking about coming back, Mists of Pandaria came out, or was shown, and I completely lost interest. Because pandas. I mean, it's pandas. Chinese pandas. What? It just completely turned me off from the game. I lost complete interest. I mean, it just didn't sit well with me. For some reason, I was looking around and there was all these people that were angry with the Deathwing expansion because they were behind on deadlines. Things that they said they were going to include, they didn't and never did. And it just really started getting get to me, I guess, that they were saying all this stuff, but it wasn't being achieved. Then they would never say anything about it. They wouldn't say sorry. They wouldn't say, oh, it's going to come out at some point. They just completely went silent, didn't tell anyone about anything, and then they never came. I wouldn't know about any of that because I have never done any of the big raid things because I think that would have just taken too much effort and time out of my life to do that, because these big things that you can get like 50 people to fight this one enemy, and it sounds cool, but I don't know if I can work in that big of a team, because they'd be like, yeah, you sucked, you didn't do your role as a tank, or you didn't shoot enough missiles, or blah blah blah, and I'm like, whatever, I just want to play to have fun. And the thing is, the raids were basically where the story was, because after a while I realized that the game itself didn't have a story per se. It had lore, but your character wasn't really that important. He was like a part of a bigger whole kind of thing. It's like an army. You're just one soldier. It's more about the generals, like the king, whatever, of Stormwind, and Rayna Proudmoore, and the Tauren guy, and the guy that's the leader of the Orcs, and the guy that's leader of the Blood Elves, and blah, and all of that. It's not about you, it's about the other people. And when I started, I thought that was cool, but after a while I was like, oh, why does it matter if I'm part of this then, if this is going to happen anyway, if I'm not even needed, it's just a thing I'm there to do. And I guess after a while I just felt like my character wasn't actually doing anything meaningful. He was just helping, which was good, but didn't really have a big impact. And I guess that's what kind of turned me off the most about it. But the other factor was the pandas. I don't know why, it just really turned me off, and I just felt like it was being really stereotypical, I think. I'm not really sure. Because I haven't played it, it feels like they were being stereotypical, like Chinese people with the, why is Master-san? Oh yeah, I've got long mustaches. Ooh, a wise man once said that thou shalt not eat a spring roll out of your bum because it would hurt and sting like a salsa bake. It's like... and it was like, yeah, I just completely lost interest. And then... what's the newer one? The newer one that's coming out. Warlords of Draenor. That's got me a little bit interested again, because the models are finally being updated. Because that was one of the... I set, like, goals for the game to achieve in order for me to actually get my interest back. And one of them was actually improving the models. Because the original models for the original races of human, orc, dwarf, gnome, undead, and night elf were horrible. They were just completely terrible. They were fine in 2004 or something, but not for 2014. I mean, they were just horrible. Even the ones in Burning Crusade were much better, and you wouldn't get that point, they would have updated the models. But no, they've waited until the next DLC, and I can understand, because it would have taken time and resources, but... yeah. But then I've actually... the next part, the thing that I thought was going to be cool was the whole build your own base and make it have better stuff. And I was like, cool, it's going to implement features from WildStar, which didn't actually turn out that well, but it was still had a premise, and maybe it'll do it better in WoW. And I actually went out and I saw some... well, I didn't go outside and go to like a con or anything, I don't do that. I looked online. So I went out to look for a trailer about, or some gameplay, and I saw it, and it wasn't good. It looked very boring and time consuming and not that really important. It was just, you can build a base and there you go. Hey. And then I lost interest again. My friends have been recently trying to get me back into it. I don't know if I can get back into it now. Other games I think I've been spoiled now on MMOs, like Star Wars and Fantasy 14 and well, I would say Star Trek Online, but you know, that's still got a lot of problems. Because it's like, after WoW, when Star Wars came out, I was like, wow, this looks so fucking cool. And it was. It had a lot of problems, but it was, because it now had you actually had conversations with people that were actually voiced, and it was so cool, and you had these cutscenes, and your character actually said things. I was like, oh my god, this is me, I'm making changes in the galaxy, and then when I had to go back to WoW, it's like, walls of text in a box, and you have to read it all. Don't get me wrong, I like it, I've got quite a lot of books, but in a game, you want to be in it, you want to get absorbed in it, and reading a block of text, it's like you walk up to a guy, you ask him, like, you got anything for me? And then he just gives you this notepad he's written, and he tells you to read it. It's like, well, why can't you tell me? And he's just, like, got his mouth sewn up with wood or something. Well, wood's a bit weird, but you know what I mean. But when another game that has voiced actors and stuff, you go up to them, and they're like, we need your help with this, and I'm like, oh, I can choose an option. Oh, fuck you, I'm not helping you, I've got more important things to do, or, I don't want to cause trouble, but I'll help, or, yes, I will save this world because it's my duty. So it's like, I've been spoiled now. Because of Star Wars, I cannot go back to WoW. You know, and a lot of people might say, oh, well, Star Wars got a lot of problems, and it's true, Star Wars does have problems. Like, it didn't live up to its potential, it's got a few things that I don't agree with, it's quite a lot of stuff that's gotten wrong, and I might end up making either a separate video, well, you know what, no, actually, I'll add it to this video. This video is going to be really long, because it's already been 17 minutes, and I'm nearly finished talking about WoW. Yeah, for WoW, let's go to that and finish it off then. So, yeah, I had created a lot of characters on WoW. I think I created at least 12. And I had fun on it at first, but ever since 2000, or whenever Deathwing came out, my interest just plummeted. And because of the newer MMOs that were offering even more features, I just felt like I just couldn't deal with WoW anymore. The combat is really repetitive and kind of boring, in my opinion. It's just hotkeys, and I don't really like hotkey combat anymore. It's not got voiced conversations. The story's more about the main characters, like the King of Stormwind and all that. Your character doesn't seem to make any sort of impact other than the fact that he helped, or they helped. And it just feels like it's like a beat in a dead horse with a stick. I think it should have ended with Deathwing's arrival. And all these people doing all this other stuff. And it's like, oh my god, this big epic battle's gonna happen. And then they should have made, like, the next Warcraft game. I mean, I haven't played any of the Warcraft games, but they look okay, and other people seem to love them. And people have been calling out for another Warcraft game, like Warcraft 4 or something. And I tend to agree with, like, I feel as though MMO should have finished before now, like a few years before. But they just keep going and going. And I can understand because it brings them in money. But at some point, they're going to have to stop. They're going to have to stop, think about what they're going to do next, and move on. Obviously, keep the game open because other people will want to still play it. But at the same time, you've got to stop thinking about the future. I was talking with a friend some time ago, not this year, like a few years ago, about a potential WoW future, another WoW game, but a separate game. And I was saying that would be cool if it was set in the future. And it's like they're in space and stuff like that. And like the humans are trying to expand their worlds and find other planets and stuff. And the dwarves are trying to find the Titans because they now found out that they're actually in space somewhere. So they go out there, try and find their lineage. And the Draenei try to find a new world for themselves so they're not taking up land on another planet. And the Blood following because they also want their own world away from the Night Elves and stuff. And the Night Elves want to go and find another sort of magical source because they sense some sort of danger in space. And the Tauren are like, we must find a new source of power or something. And the Orcs are like, we should conquer a new world and stuff like that. I thought that would be cool. And you actually get to see like what happened to the Titans and what happened to all these other magical things and all that. And I thought that would be cool, having like laser guns and ships that were like not so far in the future. It's like freaking Star Trek, Star Wars, but enough in the future where they can go into space and to other planets. So they've got like rustic ships, and they're all different depending on what faction you've got. Like a human ship could be like very kind of practical and fit for its purpose, kind of streamlined but still kind of clunky. And the dwarves are like really like rugged and roughly hewn together, but made so then it's like tough and strong. And the elves be flowing and smooth and beautiful ships and stuff like that. That would be cool. I just remembered the dragons. That's another thing that really pissed me off about World of Warcraft. At the end of Deathwing expansion, all the dragons, which I thought were really cool, they just suddenly go, oh, we don't need it anymore, we're going to become immortal. It's like, what? Why? You were made by the Titans to protect the world, and you're like, no, we're giving up this now because apparently humans and all that are better. It's like, what? You govern life. Without you, life doesn't go. You govern the dreams. Without you, dreams don't go. Night Elves will probably not be Night Elves anymore. It's like, you dudes are like the most important thing, and you just give up roles. What? No. Bullshit is what it is. I'm calling bullshit on that, but but yeah, I've just lost interest in WoW. That's it. It's not appealing to me anymore. I feel like it's going for a different genre now. It's more aiming toward like kids and teenagers rather than, a general audience. It's not really got my interest anymore, and I feel like it probably won't anymore, ever. Unless they do something drastic, like I mentioned, where they make a space one. But for right now, no, I'm probably not going to pick it up again. I mean, I've got all these other MMOs to play, and I've got this channel to make and like do videos for. So yeah, WoW is not going to come back to me, and I have fond memories of it. I don't hate the game, just don't like some of the choices that they made, and feel like it's not for me anymore. So yeah, that's WoW. I guess I should talk about some other games. Maybe I should talk about the other MMOs, because then this video will be a bit longer than 20 minutes. Probably quite a lot longer, but I can't think of anything else right now, so I think I'll end it here. So yeah, this has been the first episode of Majorshepard Rants. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully at some point I'll make another one. I might make one straight after this, who knows. I did say I was going to talk about Star Wars and Star Trek and all that, but I completely forgot what I was going to say, which is why I'm ending the video now and then continuing, because otherwise I'll just be going throughout the entire rest of the video, because I can't really think of anything right now. It's the thing with the Majorshepard video, I have to do it when I want to rant. I can't, do it when I'm not. So yeah, it's one of those things where I have to do it where I can do it, where I actually feel like ranting rather than forcing myself, because then it just feels like, and you'll get a lot more ers and rs and stuff like that, and it will be like completely all over the place without any sort of coherent message in it. Because trust me, I've tried it before. I tried doing one for Beyond Two Souls, and it ended up just becoming all over the place conversation that made no sense, so I deleted it. Even though it was about like 30 to 40 minutes long, it was because I was all over the place, didn't have a clear, concise thing I was going to talk about. With this, I actually did. So anyway, I better stop talking, otherwise this thing will go on for 30 minutes. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I should be continuing this series sometime in the future. This has been the first episode of Majorshepard Rants, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Ta-ta!